I'm Tim Adkins, and this is your daily headlines for Wednesday, September 8th, 2021. One of the largest Confederate monuments in America was removed yesterday in Richmond, Virginia. The equestrian statue of General Robert E. Lee has stood in Virginia's capital city since being erected in 1890, just 25 years after the Confederacy had lost the war against the U.S. Made of bronze and standing atop a granite pedestal, the statue had towered over 60 feet and was a prominent landmark in the region since its unveiling over a century ago. The statue became the focal point of many protests following the death of George Floyd at the hands of local police officer who was later convicted of murder. Since then, the governor had vowed to remove the controversial monument along with other statues commemorating slavery and the Confederacy. A small to moderate crowd was there to cheer the statue's removal, while there were no reports of any counter-protesters. In Afghanistan, an interim government has been put in place that is comprised of all men and mostly political leaders and government officials from when the Taliban ruled the country in the 90s. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, in response to the Taliban's new government, said in a statement on Tuesday that any legitimacy, any support will have to be earned. Meanwhile, concern over those still trying to leave the country persists as the Taliban is reluctant to allow any Afghan citizens to leave, while the U.S. maintains that it is insisting to the Taliban that chartered flights must be allowed to take off regardless of who is aboard. Although the Secretary of State admitted it has little control over what is currently taking place at the two main airports in Afghanistan. A 7.1 magnitude earthquake has struck in the Pacific near Mexico, 7 miles offshore of Acapulco. There has so far been reports of only one death, while millions are without power, including portions of Mexico City, nearly 250 miles from the epicenter. The Federal Electricity Commission said 1.6 million people in Mexico City and the states of Mexico, Guerrero, Morelos, Oaxaca were without power. Most structural damage appears to be confined to the areas around the resort town of Acapulco. The president of Mexico, Andrés López Obrador, gave televised remarks today where he said there was no significant damage from the earthquake. The U.S. Labor Department has released its monthly job openings and labor turnover report and is reporting that job openings for the end of July had increased to nearly 11 million and outnumbered jobless Americans by about 2 million. That's a 7% increase over the previous month's numbers. The report shows that the largest increase in jobs available were in the health and social assistance, finance and insurance, and in hospitality and food services. Experts are predicting that more people will be heading back to work now that jobless benefits have ended for most. President Biden gave remarks at the White House today in a belated Labor Day celebration. The president had spent the weekend at his home in Delaware before touring the flood-ravaged areas of the Northeast on Tuesday. The president spoke about the need to pass the sweeping $3.5 trillion 10-year spending plan to expand education, health care, and child care support that is part of the infrastructure bill now before Congress. During the speech, the president commented that the middle class built America and that unions built the middle class. The president also said that America is the one nation that goes into a crisis, and when we come out of it, we're stronger than we were before we went in it. Recent poll numbers show President Biden's popularity is waning in light of the withdrawal from Afghanistan and the resurgence of COVID-19 and its variants. The president is expected to give another speech on Thursday where he will lay out what the White House has called a six-pronged strategy to help combat the resurgence of the virus and its variants. As always, we'll keep you posted as these stories develop and more. I'm Tim Adkins. We'll see you tomorrow. This has been your Daily Headline News.